Even as an experienced developer and builder, I'm still strengthening these pillars. I'm still trying to keep tabs on what are the changing UDO zoning laws? What is everybody else seeing in the marketplace for costs? What's your build costs? What are site work costs for other developers? And what are the trends? What's selling and what's not? And right now, the table's filled with a lot of opinions on what hasn't worked and a lot of questions on what could work. We're seeing a softening market just with being an extra inventory, and buyers have choices. A few years ago they didn't. So how do you make sure that your project gets picked when a buyer goes to buy something? If you're going to be a successful real estate developer and builder, there's probably 4 pillars as a way to think about what you need to grow in, what you need to learn. And those pillars are your knowledge base, your processes, your tools, and your team. And we think about strengthening the knowledge pillar. And I think there's really kind of 3 buckets in that pillar that you got to think about. And the first bucket is the rules. So it's it's the UDO, the rules of the game. It's DOT requirements, local municipality things. The second bucket are numbers. So your costs, development costs, construction costs, soft costs, all the costs involved with particular development. And the third one is trends. And so I just finished up a builder mastermind here where I would say there's probably about 12 local developers got together just to resource and share what we're seeing and what we're dealing with in the marketplace right now. And so it was great. Here are these other developers. We're all in the basic same region, but we have our specific areas that we target. And I was able to kind of throw some stuff out to the group. I have a particular infill lot that we bought, and I think it's in a really good area. But based on what's selling right now, I've got questions. What's the optimal build here? And so I threw it out to the group. Hey, if you bought this lot, what would you build? And it was good to hear the advice and opinions of others. And I think a lot of the folks at the table were thinking very similar to what I was thinking. You got to look to differentiate yourself from the market. And so we were looking at this one particular site, and they were saying how there were some larger national builders that were coming in around that area, and the quality of the product wasn't as good. And so the advice was you either need to be a less price point than them, or you need to be a completely different product. And that's the strategy that we're going. I can't compete on price with a national builder who's buying large tracts of land, and you likely are not going to be able to compete on price with a national builder. But most likely you can more than compete on quality. And so what we're going to do and try, and stay tuned, I'll tell you how this goes. What we're going to try with this is I'm not going to try to compete with the national builder. I'm going to build a nicer quality product, and I'm going to provide an experience that they can't. And we're going to see how we do that way, because I don't think that I can beat them. And so, but I'm making this decision not blindly. I'm making the decision because I understand that the knowledge pillar is so important to my development. And so I'm continuing to learn from these other developers. Some of them more experienced than me, some of them less, about what's going on with their costs, what's going on with the zoning laws, and what are they seeing as the trends in the marketplace. And so great place to start. Go to your local RIA, Real Estate Investors Association. Try to find meetups with other developers to hear what other people are experiencing, and see if you can resource. And at the end of the meeting, the guy running the meeting says, is anybody willing to mentor another builder or developer, because there's folks coming that need help. And I would say you should look for opportunities like that to learn from. I'm looking at some of the guys in the room, and I'm asking for numbers and coffees. Like, I need to learn from you. You've got more experience in the things that I'm moving into, and I don't know what I don't know. And that's really the power of getting mentors and guides in your life, is you don't know what you don't know. And folks that have done more than you, or maybe worked in areas that you haven't, they have some advice. Like for instance, the guy across from the table has never built in in Durham, one of the main counties and cities that we develop in. He goes, man, I've always heard horror stories about there. I've never built there. I'm kind of afraid to go over there. And I told him, I was like, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And Durham is easy for us, not because it's easy, but just because over time we've learned that there's nuances and tricks in this area. We know the people that you call for different things, and it's the same way in every municipality. You just happen to know them. So there's great advice you can get from people who are building in areas you haven't, and then immediately the table went nuts about, oh yeah, you need this person over here, and hey, has anybody ever developed in this area? Oh, that's horrible, and this area is great. So just specific areas have their own unique needs and nuances and tricks to be successful there, and getting in groups where you can mastermind, where you can learn from, you can get so much value out of it. And so, if that's some of the, if you're looking for kind of a core foundation to put underneath your real estate development, I'd love to help you out. So first thing I can do for you is we've got a land evaluation checklist. It took us years to put together. It's been built on the backs of thousands of dollars of lost money just with stupid tax where we didn't know what we didn't know, and finally put something together so comprehensive that if I run every deal through it, and then make sure I ask all the right questions. And so I'm not going into anything blind ever again. And if that could benefit you, just comment checklist down below. Make sure that you get that checklist. And then some people might be interested, towards the end of the month of June 2025, we're going to be launching more support for investors who really want to start to excel in this game through coaching programs and courses, really taking all of our knowledge base and years of experience and bring it to the marketplace and say, heck, how can I help you? How can I save you from falling the pit that I found myself in and had to dig myself out of? Let me show you a path that gets you over that. And so if that'd be beneficial, just comment checklist. We'll be in touch. We'll be able to hopefully get you some links to that. So, my guess is that some of you that are watching this video, you're not new to real estate. You probably have rentals. You've bought deals, you've flipped property, you've done some rehab, renos, some light renos, you've had some wins and some losses, and probably you driving by bulldozers moving dirt, or you hear people that are building new construction and think, man, maybe I should try that out. Maybe there's better money over there. And the answer is there's also other risks that you don't know what you don't know. And so if you're a fix and flipper, and you've ever thought maybe new construction could be something that would add another tool in the tool belt, I'd love to talk to you. That was our experience. We were fixing flippers for years. We were good at it. But everything changed once we started developing private. We found a whole new realm of opportunities out there. And as cost of real estate, acquisition costs continue to go up, we found it harder and harder to find a good deal that we could really make money on. And we find it easier now to buy some land that you can subdivide, to buy a knockdown house that we can build and develop and be successful that way compared to our fix and flip days. And so you might be up against that now. You might be up against increased acquisition costs. You might be up against some material cost increases, and just looking for some other ways that you can make money in real estate. And so if you've been a fix and flipper, you can get into land development. You can get into new construction. You don't have to be a GC that's ever built anything. You can hire GCs like myself, and there's other builders at this meeting who would build for investors. And you can get good at finding good deals in good areas, knowing the trends, knowing the rules, knowing the numbers, where you can bring and leverage the expertise of a greater team to put around you to be successful in real estate. So be encouraged. Take the time to equip yourself. Take the time to strengthen that pillar of knowledge. Even after 20 years of building and years of real estate development, I'm still looking for groups like this that I can continue to learn from, and you should too. It will likely be a great help in the days to come as you're trying to start a successful real estate development career.